Hello, this is Brian Resney, president of Resney Wealth Management, and I'm going to bring you a case study today of an actual couple that came into our office for a second opinion review. The reason I do these case studies is because I find 95% of investors, that means probably you, are having the same situation occurring within the advice you're getting. You're not really getting any advice maybe. You might be just being sold investments that are not in your legal best interest. Well, this case study is pretty interesting. It was a couple in their 60s, retired, had 3 different advisors that they were basically work with over the years. Generally speaking, they liked the people. They just were having doubts about what they were being sold and if their money was actually being managed. And they were also starting to question excessive fees and poor performance within their portfolio account, or at least what would appear to them to be poor performance. So let's talk about them just a little bit. Again, this is a client that had a 7-figure net worth, probably about $1.4 million, $1.5 million. 3 different advisors. Advisor number 1 was basically working under a broker-dealer relationship that you hear about on TV all the time, broker-dealer, Wall Street type firm, and essentially was acting really as a salesperson, but he used the fancy title of wealth manager. And he actually wasn't managing their money at all. He was actually selling the firm's required products to put these people in a fee-based account, which the overall expenses, in our opinion, were excessive. Advisor number 2, or so-called advisor number 2, basically sold them 2 different variable annuities. What's interesting is when we took a look at these variable annuities, they've had these around 6 years or so. And what we calculated based upon the facts the client gave us, or the potential client I should say at the time, now a client, they basically, with the high expenses these variable annuities had over the 6 years and the bad investments in our opinion that were inside the variable annuity, this couple averaged a little over 1% a year when the markets have been good. They had all the volatility of the investment markets, but because the variable annuity expenses were high, it took away their net return. Again, this is something they really didn't understand until they listened to one of my TV shows and then again a radio show over the last few months. By the way, this couple told me they've actually listened to my radio show probably close to 5 years on and off, but it took them that long to come in. Let's talk about their next advisor, number 3. This is again another sad case. This is one, in my opinion, again, is really egregious because what they essentially did is the broker put them in what is called a C share class mutual fund, the most expensive class. But what was interesting is even under FINRA guidelines, the regulatory agency for these brokers or so-called advisors require that if you're putting a lot of money into a mutual fund, you have to use A shares to get breakpoint discounts for the client. This broker did not do it. They actually used C shares, and the only reason that person did it is because they were going to get a reduced commission if they sold A shares. The C shares would give them a lot more money annually kickback to the broker. Not in your legal best interest because, again, this woman also worked under what's called suitability. So at the end of the day, they had high expenses with advisor number 1, working under suitability and fee-based, sometimes fiduciary. Advisor number 2, clearly suitability. Advisor number 3, clearly suitability. While they had a fee-based person, in our opinion, was not working in their legal best interest. Remember, when a firm is fee-based, sometimes they have to act in your best interest, and sometimes they can act under suitability. We consider that an arsonist burning down your retirement security. Where do those lines cross? For this investor, again, because they became educated from our TV and our radio show over the years, they finally came in for a second opinion appointment. I know a lot of you out there are probably experiencing the exact same thing. We find 95% of investors that listen to our TV and radio show or come into our offices are working under some form of suitability. Most of them are questioning what's going on, or they're not clear how well they're doing or how poorly they're doing because the advisor never really gives them that information. That's why people come to us. They become educated from our TV and radio shows, and they become aware that they need to get a second opinion. I hope this video was of education to you. We love doing these case studies. Of course, if you're not a client of our firm, you want to come in for a second opinion appointment, give us a call. Schedule a consultation. Don't wait. Never procrastinate. Let's get your retirement and financial security back on track. Have a safe and profitable day.